Metro Theater Company's latest production, Life Doesn't Frighten Me, is based on the words of Maya Angelou. Today we're going to learn all about this upcoming production and why you should check it out at the Sun Theater. I'm joined by Jacqueline Thompson, let me say, Artistic Director of Metro Theater Company. It's always great to see you.
Good to see you. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. I love this. Maya Angelou, Life Doesn't Frighten Me. You have turned, Metro Theater Company has turned this into this lively, interesting production with hip hop and spoken word. Tell me more about it and how it connects back to the original words of Maya Angelou.
Yeah. So it was written by Paige Hernandez, directed by Kris Funn Paige Sanders, who was a St. Louis local, well, native rather. But what Paige has done is taken the poem and created 4 small stories around courage, resilience, and what I love about it is it gives young people, young audiences, a chance to look at these different scenarios and see how courage and resilience and bravery and all those things takes place. It is infused with dance and music, but what has been the most rewarding thing for me to see is a gymnasium of 200 students saying, "Life doesn't frighten me, I am fearless royalty," and putting the crown on their head. So it's also a living, moving affirmation. And I think that not only young people, but we all need a little bit of that right now.
Yes, yeah. It's really interesting because the poem itself, I was revisiting it just, in preparation for today. And it is kind of this affirmation, and it's so done obviously perfectly in Maya Angelou's words, but it's coming from the voice of a child, right?
Four different young people within the show. Yeah, there's
so
4 actors.
Got it, and for the actors. So talk about that. When we talk about Metro Theater Company, it's the 3rd oldest professional theater company in St. Louis, but a theater for young audiences. And so talk about that when actors are playing young people. What is that? And you as an actor yourself, as a director, what is that process like for the actors? And we're going to take a look at some photos as well, but when they step into those roles.
Yeah. So when I direct them, I try to make sure that they don't make a caricature of young people. I want them to have a human experience, and granted their curiosity and wonder is going to be different than an adult, but I really encourage them to have a human moment and be present enough to tap into their 8 or 9-year-old self and be able to make it real. I think about my nephew. My nephew's 10, but my nephew is not, Metro's mission says that we tie into the emotional intelligence of children, right? And so how we do that as actors is just as important as our mission and our programming. So how to have a real life conversation, and yes, making it age appropriate, but not, again, like parentifying or doing this exaggerated thing of how we think kids act.
Yes. Yeah. Talk about, so Christopher is the director, Paige Sanders, and talk about his incorporation of hip hop, spoken word, and movement into this. So I should say he's directing, but he's also choreographed
he did both.
This production. We've got a photo of him as well, as well as your cast. So talk about how that's going to play into the production.
It is a moving work of art. There was music that came with the production, but I also want to give a big shout out to Alicia Reve. Alicia Reve added some other instrumental compositions to support some of the transitions and the play, but it is literally a breathing thing. It doesn't stop. It's not linear, it's very abstract, and I love also putting abstract work in front of kids because it allows their imagination to see what is there, but also I would say it allows them to see beyond what is there and to think in a different critical way and taking art in a different way.
Yeah, no, I love that. I love that. I was reading the playbill, and I was in your opening letter as artistic director, you talk about courage not being the absence of fear, but choosing to stand in it. And so I was curious, why does that message feel especially important for young people right now?
I say this all the time because I think about myself as a child, and I was not your typical theater child. I wasn't in dance and theater and all these things. I was super introverted, super shy. So for me to even do what I do now is not the absence of fear. It was literally me in high school or even in elementary school, because I had those teachers that were like, hey, you should say this one line for this Black History program, or you should say this for the Christmas thing. And so allowing myself to, because I wanted to do it, but allowing myself to push down all those heavy emotions, all the fear, all of that, and just stand and be bold and present in my body and again, use all the courage I could muster up to say the line and then and continue the process, you know? And I don't think that goes away as we get older. We just have to
what do
lean
you
into
think,
it.
based on what you're saying, that the production sort of highlights about how children process fear that maybe adults, even parents sometimes don't recognize how their children are sort of processing fear? Do you see that like in the production
You
itself?
do, because I think in like one scenario, there's a kid who is in a new neighborhood and he wants to dance, and he's like traveling to different neighborhoods, and finally he finds his own crew, right? So again, like, you know, this group rejection, but again, trying and also not giving up on the search or the quest to find what is home for him.
Yeah. Now this year we're looking at photos. I want to make sure we include some photos too of your cast that you have, because I want to mention you. So when we're plugging for the event that's coming up, or for the production that's coming up at the Sun Theater, but with your cast, they've been on touring this production for a while.
They've been on the road.
I mean, talk about that. How many schools have they gone to?
Oh my goodness, probably over 40 at this point. We started at the Art Museum at the end of January, and they have been rolling ever since. And we also, I'm super excited. We're going to Stamps, Arkansas, and Little Rock, Arkansas, where Maya, you know, lived. There's a project down there called the Maya Project. So we're taking it down there, and that feels like a beyond full circle moment to be able to take the piece that is inspired by her to her hometown.
Yes.
Is pretty remarkable.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that. That's awesome. And also the connection, the Maya Angelou connection here to St. Louis.
Absolutely.
I mean, how does that feel?
It feels great for me because coming up and thinking about artists who had ties to St. Louis, Maya was the first poet that I explored. Maya and Langston Hughes. So to be able to expose her work to a generation behind me, it's, you know, beyond words that I can even think of right now.
Yeah, no, it is really special. And I mean, Maya Angelou has such deep influence for so many. What do you hope that people in the audience, children and adults alike, will walk away from seeing from this production?
I want them to be reminded of the resilience and courage that lives inside all of us, and make it a practice, a declaration, a mantra, a charge to exercise that in all times, in uncertain times, in good times, just figuring out how we push through life's trials and tribulations and still show up and exercise that muscle. Yeah. And I think also to feel royal and to feel like I belong here, I have a place here, and again to think about what royalty means in everyday life, what fearless means in everyday life, and how we use our voice to do that.
And I think what Metro does so well is it really does, the productions really do translate that for young audiences. They really do. They remember it, and they remember those productions and what the sort of message was, and that came out of it. Well, it's always great to see you. Thank you so much for being here. And for those of you at home, we're going to put some information up for you on the screen so you can check out Life Doesn't Frighten Me by Paige Hernandez. It's at the Sun Theater, March 27th through the 29th. That's Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. For tickets and information, you can head to Metro Theater Company's website, metroplays.org, and find out all the information for the dates and times and ticket information. Again, Life Doesn't Frighten Me by Paige Hernandez, and it's based on Life Doesn't Frighten Me from the book And Still I Rise by Maya Angelou. Jackie, thank you again for being here. And thank you at home, and keep it right here on STL TV. Experience St. Louis. We're going to put some things up so you can follow us on STL TV on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, X, everything. And you can check out this interview and many, many more on our YouTube page as well. And keep it right here on STL TV. Experience St. Louis.